What up YouTube? Spike Robot here with another video, and you'll see the title. I've talked about politics very briefly in a few of my videos, previous ones, but I've never made a rant solely related to politics until today. But this is something that has been bothering me lately, and some recent events in my offline life have led me to make this rant. I don't feel comfortable talking about them, and I really just want to focus on what I want to say. Seeing how politics breathes controversy, I will warn you, I think I almost have to warn you that what I'm about to say may piss you off and leave you angry. But I think it's very stimulating and beneficial for you to hear. That being said, I'm going to try to remain as unbiased as I possibly can. Now that we got out of the way, let's get to the subject at hand here. For years, there have been two political parties at debate with each other. But that debate reached its apex in the late 2010s and early 2020s. These parties are the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Or if we're talking ideologies, then we would say left-wing and right-wing politics. I know I said it in a previous rant video, but I stand by that statement when I say that both parties, at their core, are fundamentally flawed. It gets to the point where neither side is good. It goes right into their entire philosophies. Now, both of these philosophies are not necessarily bad on their own, but those associated with them have a very extreme way of going about them. Let's get the right-wing philosophy out of the way. The whole philosophy of the Republican Party is the need to remain true to traditional customs of America and ideals. It is the need to honor ideas of the past. On its own, that is not actually a bad thing. There are plenty of American customs that I don't see anything wrong with continuing. But I believe we should continue and keep defending the right to keep and bear arms. I am a firm believer in the Second Amendment. And there are also some American ideals from the past that are actually very important. We've always had a can-do spirit. The whole never give up mentality is an American ideal. One that I really believe in because it is a damn good ideal. The Bill of Rights were all good ideas that we should stick to. However, the problem is a lot of Republicans want to keep even the most abhorrent traditions around. Traditions like racism and homophobia and no free healthcare that have done legitimate harm to our society. They claim that they support freedom for all citizens, yet their traditions are oppressive to certain citizens. They always try to use the Bible as a justification for their ideas, even though our original American ideas were not actually based on Christianity. Rather than, they were actually based more on the Enlightenment. And to me, the way to live life is like jazz. if you play it note for note, you're doing it wrong. But now that I've talked about the problems with the right wing, let's move on to the left wing. The whole philosophy of the Democratic Party is the need to change things that are not working anymore. It is the need to fix all the social problems that this country has. Again, on its own, it is not a bad thing. America has plenty of problems that need to be fixed. I think America should have the right to improve on itself, if it needs to. Our education system, I think, needs a total overhaul. And we can certainly make changes to it. I think it is good that more minorities have rights and that marijuana is now being legalized in some states. However, the problem is that Democrats often propose changes haphazardly and without really thinking about the implications. Changes that could definitely create more problems than solve. And even changes that could very well go against the very ideals that this country was founded upon. It is pretty clear that the introduction of hate speech as a crime is a left-wing idea. Hate speech is such a subjective concept that what the law constitutes as hate speech might not actually be hate speech. What I'm saying is there is too much gray area to really determine what is hate speech. I think we should all have the right to say whatever we want. If you don't like what someone says, then you have the right to refuse to associate with them. Putting them in jail is not worth it. We already have the largest prison population in the world. But despite how different these parties may seem, they actually have a lot in common, to the point where sometimes I can't even tell the difference between the two. You may say that is complete bullshit and I don't know what I'm talking about. Alright then, I will explain in detail what these sides have in common. They're both hypocritical. They both always put emotions over logic. They're both self-righteous. They refuse to listen to anyone that disagrees with them or outright discredit them. They look at sex with so much anxiety and fear for no good reason. They always want the straightforward answers in everything, but life is rarely like that. And they've also had big-name politicians that have flat out lied to the American public. Now, I know that every single Republican or Democrat has done all these things, but these days, more often than not, you get the rule and not the exception. But my last point about politicians has led me to a point that I find no better place to bring up. Because I know that neither party is really good, whenever I watch a political debate, I feel like I'm watching two children arguing on the playground about who drank one's apple juice. I got that feeling when I saw the debate between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. It's pathetic, and I don't really care who wins the argument. I'm going to say it. The two-party system is a lie. People say that, oh, this politician is going to make this country good. He's going to get rid of gun control, or legalize drugs, or end poverty, or get rid of immigration reform. These politicians don't really believe in these issues. They're just saying these things to get you guys on board with them. Or maybe they really do believe in these things and just don't care enough to do anything about them. These politicians are too busy pushing their own agendas and taking bribes to actually run the country. And it doesn't help that they have such a limited time in office. 8 years is not actually that much time to run a country. Politicians are not to be trusted. Even the most noble politician is hiding something. Why the hell do you think that there are so many conspiracies about John F. Kennedy? We just never found out what he was hiding. Besides, they always make promises they can't keep. I honestly think that this would not be such a problem if we didn't have a two-party system. You know who would agree with me? John Adams and Thomas Jefferson. They hated the idea of a two-party system and spoke out against it. And keep in mind, they hated each other too, but they also hated the two-party system. Honestly, when you look at the history, implementing the two-party system seemed like an arbitrary decision. But it's that decision that ultimately fucked this country up. Only now are the effects really starting to show. Personally, I'm not left, not right, just free. It is a position that I am proud of. The government has too much power over its citizens. Maybe Aaron Lewis was right about one thing. This ain't the freedom we've been fighting for. This is oppression. We need to stop believing all the lies the government tells us. It no longer feels like a government by the people, for the people. Both the left and the right are oppressive. The right torments us for its own personal gain, and the left torments us for our own good. I don't want to be tormented anymore, especially for my own good. Because you don't know my own good. Now that I've blown your mind away with this knowledge, it is time for you to decide what you're going to do about it. Anyway, I'm Spike Robot. If you like this video, you can subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Support our troops, even if you hate this government. Now.